Hi, this is Jessica Bittman with the Greater Wilmington Convention and Visitors Bureau. Today we are at the historic Hotel DuPont, and this is Bits and Bites. Hi, I am sitting inside of the historic Hotel DuPont, which has been here in downtown Wilmington for over 100 years. And the restaurant right behind me is the newest concept of the Cavalier at the Green Room. Now, if you grew up in Delaware or have been here before, you would know that the Green Room was a staple of Delaware dining. You came here for anniversaries, for birthdays, for celebrations. And about a year ago, they closed the iconic restaurant and opened up Le Cavalier. And I have to tell you, if you've been to the Green Room and loved it, you are going to love Le Cavalier. They really kept the charm of the restaurant, but added in some amazing flair, some new menu items, and fantastic drinks. Let's go try one. Hey, so we are at the bar at Le Cavalier, and I am with Rob, who's the head bartender and the creative genius between the cocktails here.
That's very sweet of you.
Yes, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent today.
Excellent.
So today we're going to go over kind of some of the bar offerings, and we'll also be touching base on some of the cocktails we're working on for our fall menu. We definitely have a couple in store for down the road, but today we'll be going over this kind of Pistachio Swizzle that we're going to be making.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. Okay, so what do we have right here? Tell me about some of the bar snacks that you offer.
All right, so some of the bar snacks that we offer, we actually have some lovely oysters here, and we generally get those off of the East Coast. They are brought in fresh, so from time to time it does change where we're going to receive them from, so always ask your server where our oysters are from.
Okay.
Now, we always do fresh grated horseradish instead of pickled horseradish.
I love
You will
that.
find that in one of the oyster shells. A couple lemons over a bed of seaweed and ice to make sure that stays nice and chilled for you. In the middle of the plate, you'll notice we have a cucumber mignonette. We make that in-house with some nice Persian cucumbers. They're the mini cucumbers for anyone at home. So, beautiful flavor profile. Mignonette is generally just a pretty simple sauce to make up, right? You're going to take a vinegar base and then you're going to cut up some shallots in there, a little bit of garlic from time to time, and some herbs. And goes delicious with the oysters.
Awesome.
Up next, we actually have our lobster gratin. So this is a dip that we serve here at Le Cave. So what we serve this with is some house-made toasted baguette. We cut that up for you in nice little triangles, and then the dip itself, which is kind of the star of the show, right? We can leave the bread to the side. So the dip itself is actually quite lovely. So some lobster dips can tend to be a little rich for my taste. Just dips in general, really. So what they do is they actually take a really nice amount of sherry to kind of reduce into this dip, adds this kind of nutty acid in the background, and then right before service, they also do some really nice fresh grated lemon zest.
Okay.
So it just gives you this kind of pop of freshness that really, braces you for the richness of the dish.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. And so tell me about the drinks that we're making today.
All right. So the drink that we're making today is going to be off of our menu. So anything that I put onto our beverage menu, I try to have some kind of ingredient in there, or sometimes a lot of ingredients in there that we make in-house. I like to have that connection with culinary and then to the bar. So I try to use the same ingredients that you'll find in some of our dishes to, really drive home our environment, our brand, what we're going for, right? And what we're going for is French, and what we're going for is some North African themes in there as well.
Oh,
okay. So today, one of the main things that I'm pretty excited about is going to be our pistachio orgeat.
Oh.
So we make this in-house. What we do is we take some pistachio duca, which we'll find on the menu. The pistachio duca is essentially toasted pistachios. They're then coated in a little bit of sesame seed, coriander, black pepper, cumin. We're going to blend that and emulsify it with a hefty amount of sherry. I love sherry.
Oh, and like there's sherry in here.
Exactly.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, little connect right there already.
Right.
So the sherry is going to kind of piggyback on the nuttiness of the pistachios, but it's also going to add this kind of nice, like creamy acid in there. okay? We reduce that with some amaretto to, again, just keep doubling down on this nutty flavor profile we're going for. And then we'll also get some cumin in there, some baharat, which is an amazing spice blend that you'll find in some North African cuisine. So that's grated cloves, cinnamon, coriander, and it's not very sweet, but it has a really nice kind of like dry, warm flavored spice to it. So we blend all of that together to make this pistachio orgeat.
It's like intimidating looking. I feel like I'm about to have a serious cocktail.
Yeah, yeah. It's intimidating, but at the same time, if you were to taste it, it's like super kind of, it's floral.
Yeah.
It's got some nice spice to it, and it's nothing to be afraid of. That's for sure.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna start with 1 ounce of this.
Okay.
All right. Always use your jigger. Measure your drinks, everyone.
Oh, I
Very
can
important.
smell it already too. It's really nice.
Now, to get a little bit of that clove spice and the cinnamon from the baharat, and just to connect it to the rest of the drink, we're going to add a little bit of Angostura bitters.
Okay.
All right. Now, Angostura bitters are great at creating connection between spices and our main spirit. In this case, for this drink, the main spirit is going to be rum. We aren't going to use necessarily a spiced rum, but we are going to use an aged rum. So we're going to use El Dorado 12 year. Spends a lot of time on oak, which is beautiful because it's going to give it this nice dark color. And it's also going to give a really nice kind of like dark richness, like some caramel to this, okay? And that's what we want. Now, we are going to add one other bitter as well. Now this is kind of just a flavor enhancing bitter. It's a walnut clove bitter that we make in home, okay? Well, in-house, I should say. I don't make it at home and bring it in. I'm not that try hard. All right. All right. Now, to add a little bit of acid to this, because we have a lot of things in there that are pretty sweet, instead of just using lemon and grapefruit and some of those more obvious things, we're going to use a gastrique. Now the gastrique, yes, gastrique. Now you'll see this in some cooking. We actually have a lemon tart on the menu, for example, where we use a lemon fig gastrique. It's delicious. Highly recommend trying it out. But the cool thing about gastriques is they combine sugar with vinegar. So we end up with sweet and we end up with this acid, right? This savory kind of flavor profile. For this one, we actually take a lot of our fruit that we peel, and just because we don't want to have any waste, we'll cut that, we'll supreme it, and then we'll add it to the blender. We'll blend that down, and then we'll put it in a pan and then caramelize some sugar with that fruit. We use grapefruits, we use oranges, and then while that's caramelizing, we'll add in some herbs. We'll add in a little bit of rosemary, some thyme. We throw in some clove, a little bit more of that baharat that we were talking about. Beautiful fall spice. You know, try to find it somewhere. I highly recommend. And once that's caramelized in the pan, we deglaze that with some white wine vinegar. The white wine vinegar just adds this kind of nice floral element and really ups the acid. It gets everything that's on our pan off of the pan.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to do about 0.75 of this and add that to our drink. All right.
Wow, there's a lot going into this. I love it.
There is a lot going
Nice.
into this, without a doubt. Now, that's it for all of the more complicated things. The
Okay.
next things that we're going to have are going to be really easy to get your hands on. Grapefruit juice, fresh squeezed, you're definitely going to want to have that. And this is going to piggyback on some of the grapefruit that we have in our grapefruit gastrique, right? And then we just want to up the acid a little bit with lemon. Now, I like using lemon over lime because lemon tends to have a little bit more of a neutral acid to it. We can taste it, but lime comes through a little bit stronger. So we don't want to muddy up our flavors with lime, so we're just going to add a little ½ ounce of lemon, okay?
And I see you have these like containers. Are you squeezing all these lemons in the back and squeezing the grapefruits and squeezing? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, we use all fresh fruit here, right down to the garnishes. But again, just so we don't waste anything, we also are really big on doing things such as orange stock or citrus stock, another really cool technique that I recommend everyone trying out. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your leftover fruit that you still have the skin on, but it's juiced, put it in a pot, reduce it with some nice chamomile tea, some herbs, and just let it cook down. And it'll give you this really nice kind of acid flavor profile that you can add into other syrups. You can add it into dishes or food, and it just brings a nice lively flavor profile. Now, one other cool thing about it is it's not going to go, your stock won't go as bad as won't go bad as quickly as your juices would. Your juices, they don't have a very long shelf life. After you juice them, you want to go through them pretty quickly because they start to oxidize. However, if we add sugar to fortify this, which we do in the stock, it will last longer, and then we're not throwing all of our stuff away, right?
Okay.
So that's my take on citrus stock. Again, another fun thing to look into.
Yes.
All right, so now that we actually have everything in our shaker tin, we're going to do a technique called whipping. Now, whipping is something that we do with cocktails that we want to water down, but we don't want to water down too much. All right, so we just do like 4 or 5 ice cubes in there, and we're gonna shake this until the ice cubes are actually gone.
Okay.
You'll know when they're gone. I'm not, don't get scared.
Yeah, who needs to go to the gym, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we're just gonna shake this until we don't really hear the ice cubes anymore. That's the whole game plan.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how we'll know that our drink is diluted enough that we can put it over crushed ice, okay? And the reason we don't want to dilute it like we would a normal cocktail is if we're putting it on crushed ice, there's really no reason to dilute it twice over, right? If we were to shake this normally and then add it to crushed ice, if they don't drink it in the first, 5 minutes of it going to the table or going to your guest, whoever, it's going to be watered down. It's not going to be as good. It's going to be a little wishy-washy. Your drink's going to come across weak. And we work pretty hard to get a lot of spice into this cocktail, so we don't want to mask it with water, right? All right. Now, what we want to do is we want to find a nice highball glass. Personally, I'm going to step over here real fast. I like a Collins glass. So the Collins glass, timeless, right? Nice, long, cylindrical, beautiful glass.
I love it.
Generally
Classic.
for time Collins. Yeah, exactly.
It's classic.
All right. So for the drink itself, we want to strain this with a fine mesh strainer.
Okay.
The reason we want to strain with a fine mesh strainer is because that gastrique's going to have a little bit of pulp in it.
Okay. Oh, it's a pretty strainer too.
Yes, it is. You can't have a pretty bar and not a pretty strainer, right? That's a no-go.
This is really cool. I'm excited to try this.
Yeah. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to let that go and then just catch the drizzle and then put that in your sink. Ta-da!
Yeah!
All right. Now, you'll notice we only filled it halfway. Oh, no, we messed up. No, not really. So, what we really want to do is we want to add our crushed ice now.
Okay.
Now, personally, I know some people like to ask how to crush ice. Should they put it in a blender? Should they buy it? Which they do, right? So what I like to do is use a really timeless Lewis bag. Just crush it up. The burlap sack is actually going to dry that ice out for you. We want as little water going into our cocktail as possible because, as we talked about earlier, water dilutes the flavor.
Oh,
We don't
and now
want
what
that.
is this fun stirring thing? Is that just so it doesn't spill?
So this is actually going to chill the drink down a little bit more because remember, we only chilled this with about 5 ice cubes. So it's not necessarily going to be cold enough for us to serve. We want our drink to be nice and ice cold when it goes out.
Okay.
So the ice, when we give it a little swizzle.
Yeah. Oh, the swizzle. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
it
that's
all
the
comes
swizzle.
together now.
It
Okay.
does. It chills up the drink.
Right.
And it just distributes the spices and the flavors and everything that's suspended in there throughout the drink, right? So it's almost the same technique as if we were shaking it, but we're doing it in the glass.
Right.
Okay? Now, you can do the entire thing without the whipping technique. However, I like to do the whipping technique because generally our drinks are going to go to a guest immediately and they're going to want their drink quickly.
Right.
If you're at home and you're just going to sip on this drink for a while, you can actually build the drink in the glass and then just add your crushed ice and swizzle it. It'll come out what we would call a little hot, meaning that the alcohol content might be a little bit higher than you'd appreciate right away. But if you're going to be sipping on it for a while, that might be a good thing because then the flavor profile will kind of elongate, right? We'll have that drink at optimal flavor for a longer period of time.
Oh, that's interesting. The ice, you're actually purposefully watering it down a little bit just to make it a little bit more palatable.
Exactly,
Oh,
right
that's
away.
neat. I never thought of it that way. Okay.
Yeah, so we want to make sure our drink's approachable. The worst thing ever is like when you get a cocktail, not the worst thing ever, I guess if you had a long day, you kind of do want the cocktail to just taste like straight alcohol, right? But yeah, I mean, bartenders at the end of the day, what we're really playing around with, and it goes in every one of our cocktails, is water. We want to make sure we have the right amount. We want to make sure it's clean and it's cold.
Okay.
Now,
So now, are we done with this drink?
are we done with the drink?
We've got
No, we are not done with this drink. Now, we're gonna garnish this with a little grapefruit twist.
Okay.
I like to make mine into these little kind of like crown garnishes.
Oh, that's pretty.
It just kind of builds it up. You can just cut these at home without a doubt. I just like to have a peeler and a nice sharp knife. That's all you need. There's no fancy thing that you need to buy on a midnight infomercial that says it does it for you better. Just get a peeler and a knife.
Yeah.
Now, with the grapefruit, something that just goes really well with grapefruit is going to be a little bit of warm spice. Now, I just need to find, here we go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of fresh grated cinnamon. And I do mean a little bit. Don't go overboard with the cinnamon. Cinnamon's really easy to just overpower, and then it's just gonna kind of drive the cocktail. We don't wanna do that. We wanna find balance. And then we add a little bit of nutmeg. So that is our Pistachio Swizzle. And just for flair, one other thing I like to do, again, is we don't like to waste here, we also take our cut fruit at the end of the night and we dehydrate it if we haven't used it. So what we'll do is we'll do a little dehydrated lime right on top there, and well, you're good to go for fall.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me stay here.
After the 25-step process, this is your end result.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. Okay, didn't that all look amazing? I hope that I didn't make you too jealous, but you can come here and try it yourself. You can get drinks and food at Le Cavalier in the green room, located right inside the Hotel DuPont. They take reservations, or you can just walk in. Outdoor dining, indoor dining, it's amazing. You have to come and try it. We'll see you next time. #Bits and Bites.